Welcome to OrangePaws-Stories, where we believe in the power of a good story to change your day, and maybe even your life. Today, we read diving into a tale that combines the thrill of the racetrack with the warmth of an unlikely friendship. It's a story for anyone who has ever felt small, overlooked, or underestimated. It reminds us that kindness is a superpower, true friendship is priceless, and that believing in yourself, even when no one else does, can lead to the greatest victories. So get comfortable and let's begin our journey with a little horse with a very big heart. In the bustling world of horse racing, where size and strength were everything, lived a thoroughbred named Rocky. At 4 years old, Rocky was smaller than the other racehorses. His chestnut coat shone in the sun, but his lean frame often drew chuckles and whispers from the grand, muscular horses around him. They would snort with disdain as he passed, their powerful bodies casting long shadows over him. "Look at little Rocky," one would sneer. "He looks more like a pony than a racehorse." Rocky would lower his head, his long black mane falling over his eyes, trying to ignore their taunts. He had a fire in his heart and a spirit that longed to run, but the constant mockery chipped away at his confidence. Among all the magnificent horses, one stood tallest, both in stature and in ego. His name was Proud Champion. A 5-year-old with a gleaming dark bay coat and a perfectly braided mane, he was the star of the track. His stable was filled with shiny trophies and colorful ribbons. Every time he stepped onto the turf, the crowd roared his name. He was strong, he was fast, and he knew it. Proud Champion never missed a chance to remind Rocky of his inferiority. "Stay out of the way, little one," he'd command. "The winner's circle is no place for the weak." Rocky dreamed of one day proving them all wrong, but the dream felt more distant with each passing day. But Rocky wasn't entirely alone. Hiding in the shadows of the stables, a small pair of bright orange ears would twitch, listening. These ears belonged to a little Shiba Inu, known to everyone simply as Orange Paws. He was a stray who had found a home amidst the hay and the horses. He was just as overlooked as Rocky. While people admired the grand racehorses, they barely noticed the little dog scurrying under their feet. Orange Paws had watched Rocky from the day he arrived. He saw past the small frame and noticed the determined look in Rocky's eyes. He saw the flicker of hope that refused to be extinguished. One evening, after a particularly hard day of training where he'd been left far behind, Rocky stood alone in his stall, feeling utterly defeated. The other horses' laughter still echoed in his ears. He kicked at a loose piece of straw, his spirit at its lowest. Just then, he heard a soft whine. Looking down, he saw Orange Paws sitting just outside his stall, his head tilted, his expressive eyes filled with a deep, unspoken understanding. The little dog didn't say a word, of course, but he didn't need to. He simply stayed there, a quiet, steady presence in the lonely twilight. From that day on, a silent friendship began to bloom. Every morning, Orange Paws would be there to greet Rocky with a happy yap and a furiously wagging tail. He'd run alongside Rocky during his practice runs, barking encouragement from the sidelines. While the other horses scoffed, Orange Paws was his one-dog cheerleading squad. He'd bring Rocky little gifts, a forgotten glove, a pretty leaf, as if to say, "I see you. You matter." This simple, unwavering kindness began to mend the cracks in Rocky's confidence. He started to hold his head a little higher. He started to believe that maybe, just maybe, the little dog saw something that everyone else had missed. The strength of his faith began to return, piece by piece. The day of the Grand Championship race arrived. The air was electric with excitement. The stands were packed, and the track buzzed with anticipation. All eyes were on Proud Champion, the clear favorite. As the horses were led to the starting gate, the usual taunts were thrown at Rocky. "Don't trip over your own feet." One horse laughed. Proud Champion just gave him a look of utter contempt. Rocky's heart began to pound with old fears. He felt small again, insignificant. He glanced towards the cheering crowd, feeling lost in the noise. But then he spotted a flash of bright orange fur near the fence. It was Orange Paws, standing on his hind legs, barking with all his might. Their eyes met across the distance, and in that moment, all the noise, all the doubt, faded away. All Rocky could feel was the unwavering belief of his one true friend. The starting bell clanged, and the gates flew open. The horses surged forward in a thunder of hooves. Proud Champion immediately took the lead, his powerful stride eating up the ground. Rocky, using his smaller size to his advantage, found a path on the inside. He wasn't the strongest, but he was agile and full of heart. He remembered all the mornings spent with Orange Paws, the feeling of running not for glory, but for the joy of it. He pushed harder, his lean muscles straining. The announcer's voice boomed over the speakers. And Proud Champion leads the pack, a truly magnificent horse. But wait, what's this? The little chestnut Rocky is making a move on the inside. Down the final stretch they came. It was neck and neck. Proud Champion, shocked to see Rocky beside him, tried to pull away, but he had used too much energy showing off at the start. Rocky, driven by pure determination and the image of his friend, gave it everything he had. He stretched his neck, his nose pushing past Proud Champion, just as they crossed the finish line. The crowd was stunned into silence for a second, and then erupted into a deafening roar. A little girl in a yellow hoodie jumped up and down, pointing. The little horse won. The little one won. Against all odds, Rocky, the underdog, was the champion. He had won not just with speed, but with the strength he drew from a friendship that saw his true worth. But life has a funny way of turning things upside down. After his shocking defeat, Proud Champion's star began to fade. An injury in a later race ended his career. The trophies gathered dust. The crowds forgot his name. He was moved to a quiet pasture, alone and forgotten. The applause and admiration he once lived for were gone. His pride was shattered, leaving him bitter and heartbroken. One day, as he stood listlessly under a tree, he saw a familiar flash of orange fur trotting towards him. It was Orange Paws. The little dog approached slowly, not with triumph, but with compassion. He dropped a small, worn-out tennis ball at Proud Champion's feet and looked up, his tail giving a gentle, hesitant wag. In that moment, Proud Champion understood. The awards, the fame, the power, it had all been temporary. When he had nothing left to offer, everyone disappeared. Everyone, except the humble little dog he and the others had overlooked and mocked. Orange Paws didn't care about winners or losers. He saw a lonely heart in need of a friend. Through this simple act of kindness, this gesture of true friendship that transcended success and failure, Proud Champion's broken heart began to heal. He learned that kindness is never wasted, and that true strength isn't measured in trophies, but in the capacity to show compassion, tolerance, and loyalty. This story of Rocky and Orange Paws shows us that the simplest acts of love can change everything. It's a reminder that kindness never disappoints, and that a true friendship can weather any storm. If you've ever felt unnoticed or underestimated, remember, Rocky. Remember that your worth is not defined by the opinions of others, but by the fire within you and the love you share. We hope this story has inspired you and perhaps helped you learn a little English along the way. Thank you for joining us at Orange Paws Stories. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a little hope today. We'll see you in the next story.